The biggest problem here is not the trans, is not the trans activists. It's the parents of the people who are not trans that are the problem. Why do you say that, Mr. Tatum? Why are the parents not making more of a fuss about this stuff? Why are the parents not holding press conferences and saying, look, this is unfair to our daughters? It's unfair. It's not about hating anybody. It's not about being mean to anybody. It's that this person is a biological boy that identifies as a girl. So biologically, they're going to compete like a boy. And they're going to blast these girls. Let me give you an example real quick. You're looking at the picture right here. Why is the trans person always number one? You're not going to see them in place 2, 3, 4, 5. Why is the trans person number one? We all know why. And then here's another thing that you can consider. Why is there never the reverse in the trans world of athletics where you have a girl that transitions to being a man? Why is she not number one on the podium in any sport? I will put my life on it that you would never see a girl who transitioned to a man in competitive sports podium on any level, anywhere, anytime. You'll never see it. And somehow the reason that people are upset, because every time you see a trans boy, a boy that transitions to a girl, they're winning almost every single sport in every genre. Swimming, track and field, cycling. If they did basketball, they'd be beating these girls, beating the brakes out of these girls in basketball. Let's roll the clip.
Just swept 3 events at a high school girls track meet and is now one step closer to a state title. Max Gordon has more on that from Los Angeles. Max.
Hey, John. Transgender track and field athlete A.B. Hernandez is back in the headlines after winning 2 California state titles last year. The SoCal high school student took first place in the long jump, high jump, and triple jump yesterday at the CIF Division III Southern Section Finals. But she shared those wins with competitors that were born as biological females. Last year, California high school track officials implemented a policy where cisgender female athletes are recognized as co-champions if a transgender athlete wins a girls' event. Hernandez has become the target of protests at track and field meets where she competes. Here's A.B. Hernandez's mother.
Publicly identifying and targeting a minor child in this manner created an environment of fear, humiliation, and emotional distress, not only for my daughter, but for those around her as well.
Those protesting Hernandez's participation in high school girls' sports say it's about fairness. Protesters have also raised locker room privacy concerns and say they're standing up for female athletes.
We believe in you. You're not alone. Our daughters deserve safety. They deserve fairness. They deserve their sport. They deserve their dignity back. Justice for our girls is not an option here in California.
The Justice Department sued California last year, arguing the state is violating Title IX by allowing transgender athletes to compete on female sports teams. According to the California Governor's Office, the state is one of 22 in the country with laws requiring students be allowed to participate in the sex-segregated sport that is consistent with their gender identity. Meanwhile, Hernandez will move on to the CIF preliminaries next Saturday to face the rest of the state's top female jumpers.
So let's put this in perspective. Then I think we can go to another story. We could probably add the clips in post-production, but the fact of the matter is, this person won state multiple times. This person is now going on to the finals as the number one contender from that division. If that don't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what will. And it's unfair to women. Think about this for a minute. This will never happen. But if I had a kid that was trans or whatever, you know, they confused, and just say that somehow I fell and bumped my head and I think it makes sense to transition my kid. If I were to transition my kid, at least have the dignity of fairness to say, my child is one child. What about all the other hundreds of thousands of kids at this school? It is not fair that I think every single kid, every parent, every school should capitulate to my one child who's confused about his or her gender. You are selfish. The parents, the kids, they're young. They don't know what's going on. But as a parent, you are a selfish, evil individual. Whether you are doing it intentionally or unintentionally, what the results are is selfishness and evilness. That's like saying that my kid had a short leg. Somehow my kid was born with a short leg. And I think every sport on every level should change their rules and regulations for my kid. The only kid in the whole city, I think everybody should change So when you run the 100-yard dash, you have to run the 100-yard dash with one leg. Or you have to put an extra pad in your shoe so everybody that run track have to run with a gimp leg, just because my child has a a short leg. That's what they're doing. They're saying, okay, my child is this way, so everybody has to change everything that they believe and do. All the rules have to change because of my child. As a responsible adult, you go, hey, sweetheart, hey, son, it is unfair to do this, so you can't participate in these sports because it's unfair to everybody else. And I know that you have this challenge and you're an individual. We could find other things for you to do, but doing sports is just unfair because you were born a boy and you have a biological advantage over these girls, and it's not fair. I will say this as I move on to Mangiani, or whatever his name is. What is it? Mangiani. I will say this. I do appreciate that the state has made an effort after screwing everybody. They made an effort to say it would be a co-recognition, because the trans person winning and the girls second, third, and fourth is completely unfair. At least they're trying to do something where they're saying that they can be co-champions, which means that they at least acknowledge the girl that have won first place for real is at least a first place person, and therefore they can move on to the finals and they don't get screwed out of the finals.